Hello, this is my game Diavolo. It is a deck builder using a standard set of playing cards, and it's a solitaire game. Plays in about 20 or 30 minutes. You can play the game with either an Italian style playing card set or just a poker one, like you're familiar with. The game is played with a 40 card deck. So if you don't have an Italian style deck, you will need to remove all the eights, the nines, and the tens from the poker deck, put them back in the box. You're not going to use them, and then you're going to have a 40 card deck remaining with the remaining cards that you have. So the theme of this game is that you are descending into hell and you're vanquishing all of the demons that are there. So it's a little bit of a dungeon crawler, right? Light theme. And so in this game, you're going to have your own deck, just like any deck builder. You're going to play cards from this, and you're going to gain new cards. You're going to be able to remove cards, your weaker cards, and you're going to try to make this deck the best you can so you can get through this enemy deck. So this is the enemy row, and this is the enemy deck. These are the cards that you can take actions against, and as you, let's say, maybe destroy a card, there'll be a new card that flips over from the row, and you'll continue doing this until until there are no more cards, both in the deck and in the row. And the game is very simple. You'll be doing that each turn. If you cannot take a valid action on your turn, you lose the game. But if you can keep taking actions, then you remove all the cards one way or another, and we'll get into that in a bit, then you have won. So let's look at the actions that you can take and how you play actions on your turn. Now I'm going to explain it probably with the poker deck because I need to. I don't think people will be as familiar with the Italian style deck. But when you're looking at these cards, the suit is the object. So this is the swords, and you just count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be the 5 of swords, or the equivalent would be the 5 of clubs in my version. But we will use the poker cards, and I'll just talk with the suits. So on your turn, you will have a hand of 4 cards like this. You'll always have a hand of 4 cards at the start of each of your turns. And you're going to play 2 cards out of the 4 cards. And you're going to play 1 card as the leading card, and then 1 card as the following card, and it will matter. So every action depends on the suit of the leading card. And the following card, the value will often be used. Sometimes the suit will be used depending on the action, and you will usually add up the value so that you can do things. So and we'll go over those actions right now. So let's look at our first one, which is diamonds. So the diamonds action, or in the Italian deck, is the coins. This lets you buy cards from the row. And what you will do is the leading card is a diamonds, but you still get to count the value of the card. And then your following card, whatever it is, doesn't matter what the suit is, you add these numbers together. So 2 and 3 is 5. And because I use this as my primary card, or the leading card, excuse me, you will be taking a buy action, which means that I can buy any card here for 5 or less by adding these numbers together. So I could actually take this card and it would go to my hand, not the discard pile, and I'd be able to use it next turn. So diamonds allow you to buy cards from the row. Now note that the face cards can never be bought, only number cards like this in the deck. So this is a face card. You can't buy a jack, a queen, or king. You can only fight them, and we'll talk about that next. So the next suit is the clubs, which looks like a sword. Also a bit familiar if you play Regicide. I tried to keep those suits sort of the same for people that are familiar with that game. But the sword, if played as the leading card, whatever the following card is, you're just going to, again, add up these values. And if they add up to the number or higher, they will actually destroy the card and it'll go into an elimination pile, which is sort of the dead pile out of the game, basically. So instead of going in your hand, you can remove it. Fighting is the only way that you can eliminate the jacks, queens, and kings. So you're going to have to get strong enough to be able to do 8, 9, and 10 damage. The other requirement when fighting is that one of the cards, either the leading or the following card, need to have a matching suit. So right here, this would be clubs, and I'd be able to do it. I'd have 5, I'd have a club from one of these cards, and I'd be able to do it. So don't neglect cards because the suits will matter when fighting only. Okay, let's take a look at an easy one. We have hearts. This is resting in the... Oh, and I should have said that... oops. For the clubs, the suit in the Italian version is swords. Swords for fighting. Hearts in the poker deck is cups in the Italian deck. And so with hearts, it's very simple. It's just a rest action. You're just going to take your leading card and whatever your following card is, and they both go to your discard pile. And then that'll be it for the turn. You do no actions. It's just a rest action. You'll see why you'll want to take them in a second once I get through the last action. And the last one is spades or clubs or sticks in the Italian version. You can think of this as, I like to think of it as a wand, like in Harry Potter, you're casting a spell, and it's going to be the banish spell with the spades. And what this lets you do is, when played, it doesn't matter, you don't add up any values, but you are going to play a following card. You will be able to take any card in the row and put it to the bottom of the deck. So if there's a card that's giving you trouble, you can put it in the bottom of the deck. But additionally, the following card is eliminated from your hand. So it's going to go to the elimination pile just like this. So you're going to get rid of weaker cards, or you're definitely going to have to get rid of a card. But you can also temporarily put a difficult card. So for example, in the early game, you might not be strong enough to get rid of this queen or this horse. So you may want to put it underneath like we did. Okay. And that is the entire game. You're going to take one of these 4 actions. So you're either going to fight, you're going to buy, you're going to rest, or you're going to banish. But the trick is, every time you play an action, you cannot take the same action on the next turn. So you cannot fight and fight, or buy and buy, or banish and banish, or rest and rest. So that is that's where the game gets tricky, because you might not have the cards to fight, and you might be trying to, or you have to make decisions based on the cards you have. How can you manipulate the hand? How can you manipulate the row? Make sure that you don't have too many cards that are fighting, because at the end of the game, if there are if they're all face cards, you're not going to be able to buy. So the coins or the diamonds become useless, right? So you definitely want to make sure you have rest cards, even though they might just waste a turn. By taking a rest action, you can do something like fight, rest, fight. So you need to control your actions that way, and that is the entire game. So let's take a look at playing just a few rounds of it. So this is my. I'll use the Italian cards, show it off a bit. Okay, I'm just going to put my hand here. Okay, well, I got coins, so I can do a buy action. I would like to buy this 5, but I can only buy. I only have 4, so this is a 3 of clubs. But if I start with this action, I can start buying, but I can only really buy anything that's 4. So because of that, I am going to take a rest action. And whenever you take an action, I'll leave my discard pile right here off to the side a bit, but you take the following card first, put it in the discard pile, and then take the leading card, just so that you can see the last action that you took was this action, so I know that I can't take it. I'm hoping that I get a 2 of coins or a 3 of coins. Now, I didn't get it, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my banish card, and I'm going to banish my coins. So this is actually going to remove it from my deck entirely, and I use the banish, which means that I can take this Cavallo, or this horse. It's just too hard. Oh, we got another one, and then we refill our hands back to 4 at the end of the game, or at the end of each turn, and you also refill the row. We still haven't gotten our coins, which means that we have 4 cards left. Coins are in here. Luckily, we do have another rest action, so I am gonna get rid of these swords. I'm gonna do a rest. I'm hoping there's our coins. Now I took a rest action, so I can take a buy action. So I'm going to lead with the coins, that's 2. And if I take these 3 that I've been saving, that's 5 together. So I start with 2, I have 5. Excuse me, I have 5. So I'm able to buy these swords, which is going to be really strong. And it goes right into our hand. And then we're going to refill. And refill. So I can't take another buy action, even though I have 3 plus 5 would be 8, and I would be able to get the 7. 7 is the highest number in the deck, because then it goes 8, 9, and 10 with the face cards. So 7's really great. But I'm not able to do that unless I first banish a card. So I am going to do that. I'm going to get rid of our ace of spades here would be, but it's the clubs. So I'm going to take this action, and I'm going to put the horse on the bottom. So as you see, the bottom of this deck is going to start filling up with a lot of like kings and queens and jacks that you start putting there. So at the very end of the game, it will feel stronger, like you're doing a boss rush, because you'll have to be able to handle all those tough cards you send. But because we did that, we actually now have some smaller cards. We're going to refill our hand. So I wanted to show what happens. We don't have any more deck to add. So you take the top card from the discard pile, leave it in the discard pile, and then you shuffle everything else. That way you're reminded that I cannot take the banish action, or whatever that card is. And we're going to keep filling up. All right. So I do want to buy this if possible. This is 3 and 6. Yeah, so if we buy, so we can take the buy action. So I want to show you some fighting too. So this is 7 purchasing power, but I don't want to buy the coins. I want to buy this so that I have, because we already bought some coins and I'm trying to round out my deck. And we have a lot of cups or hearts. So I definitely want to, this is a kind of a low card that I don't really want in my deck, so I'm going to do a fighting action, but I need the suit of the cups, so one of these cards need to go with it. I'm going to take this 2, add it together. I have a strength of 5. 5 is over 4, so this card is eliminated. So you can fight any card you want, but you must fight the face down cards. And this is the action you're just going to repeat. You're always going to have 4 options to pick from. You're always going to play 2 cards out of your 4 cards. The first card you play, the suit will matter on what action you're going to take. You're either going to fight, buy, rest, or banish cards. And you're going to do this for about 20 minutes till you go through this deck. Eventually, your deck will be filled with 7s and 6s, and you'll get rid of your 1s and 2s, and you're going to be throwing 12 and 13 damage all over the place, and it's pretty fun. So there is some strategy. I'm not going to reveal all of it. If you want an easier game, if the 3 cards is too hard, you can have 4 cards in the row, and that will be a much easier one for kids. And if you want even very beginning, you can have 5 if you want, really. I wouldn't go less than 3. Having 2 would be a bit too difficult on the options that you would have. But that's a sample game of Diavolo, and I'll have the rules posted in a link in the description. Thank you so much.